Hello, welcome to Lunan Bay. This is a map that I've made using height maps and then sculpting out bits of the landscape in the map editor to create the rivers and valleys you saw in the intro. As we build out, we'll explore more of these features, bringing the area to life with some history and folklore based loosely on the real life history of this area. But I should note here that this storyline will be completely made up and not made to represent any real historical accuracy whatsoever. Lunan Bay is a fictional region based on an area in the southwest coast of Scotland. Its history is shaped by its rugged coastline, dense forests, and rich soil. For centuries, Lunan Bay was a fractured landscape of clan rivalries and new settlers. The region's geography isolated these early settlers, forcing them to rely entirely on local resources. By the 17th century, a network of coastal tracks and river routes began to develop, connecting these isolated pockets. This infrastructure transformed primitive settlements into specialised industrial hubs. 4 distinct townships will grow in this region, each built around a different natural resource. The Woods of Arnhall, known for its dense forests and stories of wild beasts. Port Lunan, the fishing haven, grew along the natural harbour, making it the maritime heart of the region. Stonehead would provide the rock that would lay the foundation for the new city. And Kirkliston, built on the low-lying, sun-warmed plains with exceptionally rich glacial soil, became the centre for agriculture and trade. The mid-20th century brought the decline of traditional heavy labour, forcing Lunan Bay to reinvent itself. The historical rail lines that once carried timber and stone now bring holidaymakers and office workers. Today, the region is defined by its industrial heritage, with old quarries, warehouses and forest tracks converted into cultural landmarks and hiking trails. The old industrial waterfront now a centre for tourism and culture, the town centre rising skyward with modern architecture. But even with the last of the old industry dying out, Lunan Bay is still very much coming to life. So we're going to begin here by laying down some roads and seeing where they go. Well, that wasn't too painful. Now we'll work on the train station. Oh man. So with the train station placed here, I want to build out the rest of the residential area. I need to raise the land up and then build some roads to go over the railway. So that's what I did. Oh look, a train. Why did you stop there? What are you carrying? Where are you going? So many questions. So little time. Anyway. This is basically the layout for the downtown. I'm not actually going to start on building the downtown until much later on. I just kind of want to get things in place to get the city up and running. But I'll give you a bit of an overview of what ideas I have. So we have this road coming in here. And that leads straight into the downtown, but I actually want to make this into more of a highway. It sort of cuts over the river and then loops around the back of the city. It'll come around here, cross over this river, follow the rail, and then open up all this land at the back for development. This is Port Lunan. This is the main industrial hub of the city. This is the downtown. We'll expand on this a bit later on. But yeah. And this will be the first residential area. So yeah, we'll begin building here and see where we go. The first residents have moved in. I think this area is coming together quite nicely. So yeah, we'll just continue building out from here. I had the idea of practicing some detailing here, so I built up this small service yard. Just going to fill it with some pallets, some small trucks and things like that, and then cover the place in decals, just to kind of get used to how things work in the game. said I wasn't going to build up the downtown, but we need some city services, police and fire. And we'll add this little park area to give people a place to hang out and relax when it's not raining. So I'm just finishing up detailing this little school area before focusing on some utilities, garbage management and power. With the utilities taken care of, I want to start focusing on the transition between the single family homes and into the higher density that will eventually lead into the downtown. After zooming this little area here, I noticed this building doesn't have road connections at the back, so I was trying to think of a solution. I was kind of struggling. So the best way to deal with problems in life is just to delete them. But in reality, that doesn't really solve anything, so I'll have to think of something else. And oh look, it's snowing. Isn't that nice? And there we have it, the beginning of Lunan Bay. I'm quite happy with the layout of the downtown. Kind of a basic idea. Road layout is subject to change, but you kind of get an idea of the grid. I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. You can clearly see the transition from small single family homes to the kind of higher density before it leads into the downtown area with the train station in the middle. Really like that idea. So yeah, we'll just continue building up as we go, but for the next few episodes I think I'm going to start focusing on more of the infrastructure, things like roads, highways and the rail network a bit more. I'll probably start expanding out some of the smaller towns out in the countryside and the valleys and stuff before beginning the downtown. I think it's important to get a sense of the history of the area in place before, we just go plop a load of builds in downtown. But yeah, I think it's looking really cool. You can see there's a nice transition there. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks.